Well, I'm back is the call from Chapo Johns.
What was going through my mind is I've been here before. I spent countless hours training.
Miles Chapo John! Welcome to UFC Unfiltered.
Please tell me that's on video. I've never been happier.
I'm made for a fucking podcast. We're dangerous. Listen to me, we're at it.
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. James Norton, Mateusz Serra.
Hi.
We are here today. We have Mike Valle, or is it Valle? We're struggling with the pronunciation. Great striking coach, and Miles Johns, who had a tremendous fight over Dan Argueta. The main fight of the prelims will be joining us, and he is an exciting fighter and a lot of great fights. By the way, what a shitty ending, right, for Fiziev, who I love watching him fight. I don't think anybody in that division has faster hands than Rafael Fiziev. Mateusz Gamrot, dangerous guy on the ground, and he hurt his knee throwing a kick. By the way, I hurt my foot kicking Jamie English's elbow, so I understand.
Oh, shoot, Jimmy.
Yeah, you throw a kick?
I want to hear about your rolling. We got a lot to talk about today. We have a lot to talk about. My wife competed over the weekend. Uncle Edwin. I
saw those fights.
And by the way, with Michael Johns and
Miles Johns. Yeah.
What's that?
Miles Johns.
Miles Johns. What I say?
Yeah. Michael.
Oh, I'm sorry. With Miles Johns and his fight with Dan.
Yeah.
Argueta, right?
Yeah. Great fight.
I just don't like what they said to him afterwards.
What did they say to him after?
Dan, get it! They said, Dan, get out of here! Jimmy, we have such a jam-packed show today.
Unfortunately, yeah, we do.
I tripped at the finish line. Get out of here!
Sorry. No, I would say at the starter pistol, that one tripped.
Listen, I gotta pull the trigger.
Sure, I understand.
Not every punch is gonna land.
Dude, I understand totally. And sometimes they fall flat, and we all have that happen. I totally understand.
We have so much fun. Hey, I'm impressed by Brian Battle, who was on with us last week.
Yes, what a great fight he fought. Bryce Mitchell against Dan Ige was a great co-main. That was a great fight.
Can I just tell you?
Sure.
And I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at I love it's not scripted. It's his theatrics that are not trying to be, he's not trying to be theatrical. Right. You know what I mean? When he takes the Bible, I haven't seen anything like this ever. When somebody takes a Bible in the cage, in the octagon, and screams like Mel Gibson from Braveheart, freedom! Dude, I would have got what if he passed out? The fight would have been over. He almost lightheaded. He yelled that. It was something to behold.
Yeah,
but this is what I have to tell you about Bryce Mitchell, what I feel. I feel that people might look at him and go, yo, something's going on up there. This sounds a little crazy. It's a little out of the norm. When a guy's like this, with his holding up the Bible, screaming freedom, and I'm saying this not in a bad light because it is conspiracy theories, but I'm not saying like they're fake. I'm just saying,
sure,
he has certain beliefs that are not the norm beliefs, which is whatever. My thing is, I don't judge him on any of that, but his belief, he has belief, and he believes like he's, against the going against the forces of darkness and Satan and everything. It's so it gives him this confidence that's unwavering. Like, in other words, he gets a failed takedown. He's relentless. You know what I mean? He really is. He's something to watch. It's one thing if he held up that Bible and he's yelling this and he's doing that and he can't fight. He was vicious because Dan Ige is not an easy guy to get down or keep down. And I don't think he's ever felt anything like that. It was crazy.
Didn't you think, though? I thought 29-28 was more of a fair score. I didn't think it was 30-27. I thought, if I remember correctly, Ige won the second round. I thought I gave him the second round. I thought it was a little closer than that score indicated, 30-27.
How about this? I remember thinking, I go, I'm not sure. I remember the second round ended. I knew he won the first round.
Yeah.
The second round, 100%.
Who?
I won because then the only time he lost it was towards the end of the position, but I think it ended with him mounted both times almost, no?
Who, Dan?
Or did Dan? No.
I don't remember.
No. He ended mounted the first round, but I remember being like, if this ends, both these rounds end with Bryce Mitchell on top mounted. It's like that's how the fight. I mean, the guy he had no answer for it. Yeah. He wasn't getting out towards the end. Like he was, you know what I mean?
As it wore on, yeah.
What a powerful mount. At that point, just the clock is his enemy. It's like, can I get him out of here? Get him out of here in time. You know? So I don't know. I don't give a shit if he believes, I don't care what shape he believes the earth is. He is so dangerous and he's very entertaining. I'd say to the point of mesmerizing. Man, you can't take your eyes off this guy. He's trying to get the mic to do get it led in prayer with Dan Ige. It's freaking funny. I don't know if Dan Ige was like, man, please let me disappear from this. I don't know. He was kind of like, it's stuck in there.
It's easier if you win to want to pray. If you lose, it's a little harder to pray. Hey, whatever works for him. You know, I never care what someone believes. If that's his life, that's his life. You know, he's a great fighter. And he is entertaining to watch, man. Really, really fun guy. And the whole card I thought was really unbelievable. Brian Battle, AJ Fletcher I thought fought a good fight and was absolutely doing damage. He's just such a short guy. Getting in there and covering the distance was a little bit difficult. But that was I think that was a sub. Yep, rear naked in the second. Great fight until it ended.
He like he said, his MMA grappling is through the roof, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you really quick. We don't have anybody in the waiting room, right?
No.
All right, let's talk about our personal lives.
Sure.
Hi. You're not First of all, stop messing around with the names.
Wow, what's wrong with my name?
You kind of taking. I'm not the joke king, am I? No.
Because you're. Because you're the Kimura Savage. I can't be Kimura Daddy. That's my Zoom name, Kimura Daddy.
I feel like you're doing that on purpose to try to like.
That's not true. Let me change my name. I just think that since I have been going from head and arm chokes into some Kimuras, I love it. Mike has me. I'm sore as fuck right now from gripping because he has me rolling with this young, lightning fast blue belt. This kid Martin, his movements are really great. He's really hard to submit. He bucks like a motherfucker. Like it's really good to have somebody pushing back and resisting. And he's not even trying to submit me. Like if he was, I'd be finished immediately. But just the fact that he's giving me some resistance feels really, really good. But it's exhausting. I've never done anything more tiring.
It's such a blast. I know I had guys in there today. I had some older guys, some younger guys. I taught the morning class. I taught the noon class just now. Yeah. In between, I take a little nap. I told you, my routine. Yeah. It's fun. I have so much fun, man. Last week I was in the city, and I did a thing. I shot a thing for HSS hospital. They're partnered up with the UFC now. The hospital.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Where I got my new knee. So I had a meeting with my doctor. I met a couple of doctors. We had some conversations. We went over some new equipment they're doing, and I was jumping in a pool. It was an all-day thing. And then afterwards, I could either go home and rush hour for 3 hours, or, you know what I mean? Midtown was a mess because they got things going on at the UN or whatever. So I go, you know what? Let me go to the west side. What the heck? They gave me a driver. Let me go to the west side and visit my buddy Luca Italia. He's Brazilian, but I like to say it like that.
Sure.
Luca Italia. He's a friend of mine for almost 30 years. I met him through Henzo. He's training at Henzo's, and he runs Henzo Gracie Upper West Side.
Oh, right. What is that? Is it like on 72nd or something?
I totally forgot.
And Renzo just opened one on 14th, by the way, too.
Yes, on Wall Street. Yeah, Renzo's a beast. Me and Renzo met up, and we had a beer that night and had some dinner. And I was so happy to see my master. He's such a positive.
He's the best. Yeah,
such a good person. So I did a class for Luca. There'll be some videos coming out. Probably they usually do that. I'll put it on my Instagram, Matt Serra BJJ. But I love visiting my friend, and I told a real quick story about when I was 23 years old, 22, 23 in Brazil in like 1998, something like that, 97, whatever. I was the only American on the mats at Baja Gracie, and some of the Brazilians didn't treat me great. They all had some respect. They never crossed any lines because they knew I was associated with Renzo. Mm-hmm. I was a guy, and they all had so much respect for Renzo. Nobody would dare be too disrespectful.
Sure.
There was a few gringos. There was a few guys calling me gringo, hey gringo, you still rolling and this and that. They weren't they weren't the sweetest, you know what I mean? But this guy Luca, before I won any medals, I was just one American in a sea of Brazilians over there. He was always a sweetheart, always a good guy, just a good guy.
Did any of them, Matt Serra, did any of them turn around and start to, like, as they got to know you, start to change the way they treated you?
Well, they respected me because the only guys that would tap me would be the black belts. You know what I mean? The only guys who passed my guard were the black belts. I was a purple belt. So it was funny. In the beginning, I was I wasn't even going out at night. So like, hey man, what's the matter, dude? You don't like to, mingle with the ladies? They were almost like, all I was concentrating on was training. And then I ended up, hanging out a little bit, going out, hanging out with them, and had a good time. But I was just such a machine with the training. And, I had a blast. I was there for like a month at a clip every time I'd go. But so they respected me from my skill set because I've been given help. But none of them, but some of them, again, were nicer than others because, I don't know. I'm on their turf. They don't like to be getting, and back then when I went over there, I didn't go there and I learned techniques from the guys, but there wasn't like a set class where I learned techniques.
Right.
Carlos Gracie Jr. would show up, sit on a launch chair, and point to you and you, you and you. Everybody's on their knees. And then we do rounds of like 6-minute matches, whatever it was. And then we would just do that for like almost an hour. I don't know. It's crazy. And again, here we go. All right, we got Miles Johns. And sorry, Jimmy.
That's okay. I was just giving you the thumbs up just so you know.
In the young adventures of a young.
I love it. I think it's very interesting. I was reading about the Gracies just to hear those names. No, I love hearing about that stuff. We have Miles Johns is in the waiting room, fresh off his win over Dan Argueta. What a great fight this was. Back and forth. Argueta was really, really tough. Miles Johns was clearly winning the fight, but it was still an extremely good matchup. We should bring him in whenever he is ready, Sir Jake.
He's ready now. Miles, you hear us?
Hello?
Oh,
yep, I can hear you guys.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good to see you,
What's
Miles.
up? What's going on?
It's Miles'
Great
first
fight.
time on here, Jimmy. It's his first time on here.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
sir.
Congratulations.
I'm Matt, Miles. I'm awkward on first time. Yes.
I know.
Sorry about
I know
that.
who you are, sir. How you doing? It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you, dude. Only like an inch taller than me. I'm probably shrinking also. We're bad. Listen, short kings, man. F everybody, Miles.
Let's go.
Congrats on your fight, bro. Congrats.
Thank you.
Now, we want to get to know you, man. It's your first time on here.
Yeah.
Let's hear about your journey, dude. Where are you from and what'd you get started with the martial arts?
Yeah, I'm from a small town in Kansas, Newton, Kansas, and I started wrestling in 3rd grade. I was playing all these other sports, fouling out in basketball, all this stuff, and this one kid that was wrestling on my older brother's baseball team was out there taking everybody down in the middle of the field and stuff, and it just looked so fun. I asked my dad if I could go out there with them, and these kids are 2 years older than me, and I went out there, naturally just picked him up and slammed him on his back, and immediately after that, I just fell in love with it. I knew the sport. I knew which sport was for me, so that's how I got started. And that's not really a martial art, but nowadays it seems like it seems like it's considered one almost,
Some of the most dangerous guys are wrestlers. I mean, that's a nightmare to deal with, you guys. When did you move into striking?
Well, when I started fighting, I just had a natural progression into striking. I'd been, I was always kind of a aggressive kid. I was never a bully, but I was also never, if there was a bully that was looking for problems, I'd be happy to oblige with them, So I've always just kind of loved combat. And when I started fighting, I don't know, something about, I just wanted to box. I didn't want to have to rely on grabbing people and taking them down. I wanted to be able to knock them out from the feet. It's just something inside me. So, I really focused on that. It's also, I guess, because I knew I could wrestle. I wasn't worried about people taking me down or holding me down, so I was just mostly worried about somebody boxing me up. So
it's nice knowing you have that, though, that you could keep it where you want it,
in the back pocket. Yeah, absolutely.
Right there. Or if it gets a little, gets a little too hairy, it's like, all right, we're going down. I'm going to elbow you in the face. But if you don't, also, you can let your shit go knowing that you're hard to be pinned down. You know what I mean? If you do get taken,
Yes, sir.
And listen, so we're all on the same page. Wrestling's like one of the first martial arts. I mean, it might be in every middle school from here to Guam, but that is one of the traditional Roman fucking gladiator. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I was just watching, guys? Sometimes I watch old series. Rome it's on Max, HBO Max. It's an old series.
Yeah.
Dude, it is so fucking good. It's so good. Jimmy, it's based.
Wasn't it only 2 seasons though?
It was only 2 seasons, but I mean, sometimes it's better that way. More is not better,
Now, there's that trend going on around too, where these wives are asking their husbands, "Have you ever think about the Roman Empire?" And just like as a joke, and all these guys just go into their bookcase. Absolutely, I think about it every day. I think this was happening this time and stuff, So yeah, it's kind of a funny trend going on.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those things too. It was too expensive to shoot it, Matt. That's why they ended after 2 years. It was costing them like $5 million an episode, and it was just too expensive to keep going. But I heard it was great.
Easily one of my favorite series, and it didn't really rely on big special effects and shit. But the characters were so badass. Hey, shoot, only because this is the way my ADD mind works. Where'd you get the nickname Chapo from?
Short Kings, baby. Chapo means shorty in Spanish.
That's right.
Believe it or not, I've been short my whole life. So, yep, I got it in about kindergarten, and it stuck with me.
Really?
Yeah. It would be weird if you were tall in high school and then short as an adult. That would be a strange. If you went backwards.
Hey, let me ask you. You watch any Marvel movies or anything?
I do now. Now that I got my boys growing up and stuff, I do now.
Good. Yeah. It's good to watch with your kids. That's how I got into it. But Wolverine, just so you know, this is where Jimmy brings he brings it up every time, and I agree with him.
Yep.
In reality, no, in the comic book, he's 5'3". Now as a guy 5'7", we don't have a lot of heroes. We look around, everybody's so tall. Even back in the day, Clint Eastwood, I don't know how much he measures. I mean, Sylvester Stallone, they make him look taller. I mean, come on, man. I know they want the women's ticket on the movie ticket with the Hugh Jackman. Hashtag not my Wolverine, man. 5'3". Well, you can't insult anybody nowadays. God forbid you insult anybody's feelings. You understand? Yeah. What about us? What about people under 5'8"? Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody. Give me Wolverine. Give me Wolverine.
I hear you.
All right, let's get back to the interview, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now, Miles, you used your post-fight interview. You were honoring your brother-in-law, and he had passed, and you were winning, dedicating to people with mental illness. And is that your main connection to it, or do you have issues with it? 'Cause we've all dealt with stuff that's, you're like, you wonder what the hell is wrong with me, and you're like, it's got to be something more than is on the surface.
Yeah, I think I've had my own battles, my own dark times, but I wouldn't say that I've dealt with it as extreme as a lot of people and the people that I'm kind of dedicating that to. I've had a friend in high school, one of my the wrestling team captain, a good friend of mine, somebody who I really looked up to. He passed away from suicide as well. So it's been around life a lot. I do feel like, I don't know if it's true, but I've known so many past wrestlers and stuff. I feel like there's something with those combat sports and wrestling and what these guys are able to go through mentally and the weight cutting and all that. that some of those kids can be a little more prone to it. You know, I don't know if that's true. I don't know statistics, but I've just seen it a lot in the wrestling community, you know. And the way I correlate is like these guys, wrestling is a very alone sport. Like you got to go inside and you got to bottle a lot of things up. Like some of these high school guys cutting like 10 pounds a week to make weight. Like that's freaking hard mentally, especially for a high school kid that's supposed to be growing at that time. So I think that sometimes these guys are just good at hiding some of those emotions. And some of them were like drug overdoses. Maybe they're purposeful, maybe they weren't, but there's also that extreme factor to it. Like wrestlers and guys like that are very extreme. Like they're like adrenaline junkies and just like the highest highs and the lowest lows, you know. And I think that's the closest that I've got to it with, is just that I do love very high highs. Like I love going in a cage and fist fighting somebody. And when you love high highs like that, you're gonna experience low lows. So yeah, it's just been around in my life a lot.
Sure.
But my brother-in-law.
It's also very hard when you guys have the adrenaline you get from what you do. It's hard to match that. Like I'm sure what it's like to punch in on the man and knock him down and knock him out, or strike, or however you win a fight. How many things in real life can give you that type of an adrenaline or that feeling of singleness or power? It's probably almost impossible to replicate.
It's really hard, man. It's a balance, you know, and that's one of the reasons I got sober, because I felt like I was going in these fight camps. And when I'm in fight camp, I'm not myself. My kids recognize I'm not myself. My wife recognizes I'm not myself. Like I go into my own world, you know, and it was getting kind of hard to integrate back into the normal world. And a lot of times I was using alcohol. Like after camps, I'd be drinking. Like it'd be fine for me if I want to fight. I start drinking at 12 and I drink the rest of the day. And that happened for multiple weeks in a row, you know, and that kind of made it hard to come down naturally from these super high highs. So I got sober, and in this camp, I feel like I'm being able to integrate more. I'm jumping back into normal life a lot easier, you know, without those high highs and low lows. I'm not looking for some crazy adrenaline stuff.
That's great.
It's the question, Jimmy, for you, because I know what you're talking about, Miles. And I've had a fight where I almost like cry in the locker room. I'm so happy from the like the way I feel. You feel so powerful, almost like no matter what happens tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Right now, I feel out of this world. You know, I know the feeling. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
But then, like almost a few, like not even a week after, you start to get depressed, and you're like, what is going on here? Why am I feeling depressed? It's almost, maybe it's like the come down or something. It's like, so I don't know. It's strange, even after some of your biggest victories. But Jimmy, my question to you, because there's a weird thing. If you have a very good show, is it something similar or not at all? Like if you kill, and then
I can't imagine what it's like to knock somebody out. But I mean, it is a powerful feeling if you're on stage for an hour and you're having a great show and people are laughing. It is a high, and it does take a while to come down from, and it is harder to replicate. But you know, again, the extreme of fighting is like you're in so much. I could bomb, but I'm not in the threat of being knocked out. So I would say the adrenaline of winning a fight is so much different, because it's probably like what I do times 10, because there's no threat to my safety. You know, you're actually beating someone that's trying to hurt you. Do you know what I mean? Like that, and that to me is that the high of that has got to be, you know, I don't think stand-up compares to that. Rogan would probably be a good guy to ask you about that, because he does both.
Also, guys, I don't know if you ever heard, but somebody's, what is it? Their number one fear is being like publicly humiliated.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So from my experiences, I've obviously fought a bunch in the cage. And when I do the show looking for a fight, the closest, and I wrote the closest two feelings to that, adrenaline wise, one was jumping on a bull, because obviously you're on a bull and you know it's usually not going to end. Like in a fight, you know you're going to get touched. That's one. That was like, I know something's going to happen it's going to end kind of violent. And two was when I did the stand-up. It was really that kind of adrenaline, Jimmy. Yeah. I'm telling you, you don't give yourself, it's harder to do what you think. Miles, would you ever think about doing a stand-up class? Not stand-up.
I mean, I wish I could, but I'd be too scared. So I see what you're saying. Like that's a lot of pressure to stand up, and you're supposed to make everybody in the room laugh. That's a lot of freaking pressure. You know, that has to be an adrenaline rush.
It definitely is. Yeah. It's absolutely. Joe raised a good point one time about stand up and like jujitsu, where it's obviously there's no physical threat, But the reason fighters are humbled is because you guys are getting tapped in the gym all the time. So you develop a humility because you're the best, and then somebody taps you, and then you're the best. And stand up is the same thing. Whereas you have a great show, and then the next night you suck, or one joke works and the next joke's. But there's a certain thing that brings you back down to earth, which I know you guys deal with in training too. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people everywhere, I think in all facets of life, you deal with it a little bit. Like even somebody who works a normal 9-to-5 job and they're hustling all through the week and they're taking their kids here, they're taking their kids there. They have that through the week. And then on the weekends, it's like when you don't have that, how do you cope? And some of these guys can cope with like alcohol or whatever it is, and they can just relax like that. But me being a fighter, I'm too extreme. Like if I'm coping with alcohol, I'm drinking a lot of freaking alcohol, and I'm one of those guys that's like, I drink this much, and you can't be able to tell. And this, so it became a little bit of a problem. And I was realizing that that's the only way I was coping. So now I'm just trying to live in the moment, you know, and just like be okay, knowing that like I don't have 3 workouts today. I'm not gonna get this like huge rush from this or that. I'm just gonna be here, and days might feel slower, but that's okay because time is freaking flying. So I'll enjoy these slow days and let them pass.
How long have you been sober?
I think I'm coming on 8 months now.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Really
yeah. Great. Oh, awesome.
Still something.
What's that?
Still something kind of new for me. Yeah.
That's still nice though. I mean, it's a great start, and yeah, coming down off of training, what do you do to keep, like, you know, if you have a day off, what do you do to keep? It's very hard just to go to level. Mike Tyson said something in an interview. He was talking about, I think he was talking about drugs or just the lifestyle. But he said what he called it, I think, baseline zero, like how hard it is to even get to that point. Like when you're so adrenaline driven, your baseline normal, I think he said, is so much higher than most people's. So for you just to kind of settle in and feel okay, things have to happen. Most people feel that way sitting on the couch, but you know, it's probably harder for you to do that.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Usually I got to go like for a run or something. Like I'll probably do a midday run today, you know, even though it's just Monday, just to get that feeling, just to get something. And really another thing that comes with it is like I almost get like a flipping eating disorder. Like after I've been cutting weight so hard and stuff, it's literally like every 30 minutes, my mind is like food. Yeah. I just hear a little voice just popping up. You need to eat. So I'm also just trying to manage that a little bit and keeping that under control, because I've got to where like my freaking calves and hands and everything's swelling up, and I can't do that, man. Especially I'm trying to make a run for the top 15 and make a run for my title soon. I can't be letting myself blow up like that, you know?
Dude, trust me, man. I used to do the same shit. Don't do it.
It's hard.
Not worth it, man.
It's hard.
Do it for a few days. I used to do it so bad, my stomach would shrink, and I would do it so bad. I'm like, I'm not even enjoying this. And then I get to the point where I do enjoy it, and I'd be fat. I gotta, you know, so you gotta come on in. You get your, you know, you scratch that itch, and then you get back on that treadmill, man. Come on, dude, you're doing great. You gotta keep this thing going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So who do we go? Right, I'm sorry.
No,
Jimmy.
you go, buddy. Go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna ask, who does he want next? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. There's a couple of different matchups in the division, but I thought Amin Zahibi, he's coming off of a 3-fight win streak, I think, 2 big knockouts, you know, and I know that he said he wanted to stay active, and I think they have a card in January in Canada, and hopefully I'll get a new contract after this one. It'd be my first fight on my new contract in Canada against the hometown boys where I started. That was my debut. So it'd be nice to kind of make that go full circle.
Oh, this is the last fight on your contract?
This wasn't the last fight on my contract. It was a third. It's on a 4-fight contract, but a lot of times they'll renegotiate before that 4th fight. So hopefully for my next fight, I'll be jumping to a new contract. I guess I speak before I know for sure, but that's what we're hoping for. And if that's the case, I figured, you know, what better way than to go full circle where I did my debut and fight another Canada hometown boy. But that's just one. I'm sure there's other guys. You know, Sean Shelby's super good at his job. You know, I trust him. Whoever he sends, I'm going to say yes. You know, I'm not scared to fight anybody. But it seems like everybody in the division has a fight, and I'm looking for somebody who's got some momentum going behind them as well.
How tough was Dan Argueta? I mean, what a great fight that was. You were dominating, and he was just impossible to put away, man. That was a really exciting fight. Was he kind of what you expected?
He was. You know, I was, like I said in the post-fight interview, I did a lot of hours in the sauna just fighting this dude. You know, like I'd be like, oh, you 15 minutes, like I'd go through three, like I'd be already dying. I'd go through 3 5-minute rounds, and I'd picture him just going after me, bombing on him. So I did expect him to be tough. I did land some of those shots where I kind of looked in his eyes, like I was like, I know when I've connected like that with other people in the past, they were knocked out cold. I'd look in his eyes to see if he looked hurt, and he was just still coming. I mean, his nickname, the Determined, he was determined to win. So, but I wanted to fight like that, I feel like I've been doing a lot of changes in my life. I wanted to test myself. Back in the day in high school wrestling, like some people have questioned my cardio in the UFC, and like just some of the betters and things like this, you hear through the grapevine and stuff. In high school wrestling, if I took you to overtime, there was no freaking way you were beating. Like, if we went to overtime, I'm getting this dub for sure. That's the person I am. That's the type of heart I have. That's the type of cardio I had. So I wanted to prove to myself that you're still that same dude. Cardio's no issue. If it goes to the deep, or I'm drowning your ass. Like, you're not gonna drown me. I'm here for it.
What does that feel?
And I was gonna say, Jimmy, it's nice to get the finish, but when you get a durable guy like that, it's also nice. You're a young kid. It's nice to get that work in. And for the people to see that work and know that you can go hard 3, and the way you made it look, you could do a hard 5. I mean, that looked your cardio is impressive. So hey, man, it's nice to get that work in. It really is. There's nothing like experience, and only one way to get it. And I know what it's like when you hit a guy with a certain punch and they can't take it. You hit a guy with the same punch and they can take it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that sucks. It's kind of weird. It's like, whoa, I know I hit fucking, you know what I mean? This guy with the same shot and this other guy still here. It's kind of like, whoa. You know, it's weird, right? Is it a weird feeling when you hit a guy and they're still standing in front of you like that?
It is a weird feeling. And I mean, you know how it is. Like, it feels like it gets hotter in the cage. Like, you hit this guy with everything you have and all of it, and he's still coming forward. All of a sudden, somebody just increased the thermostat like 20 degrees. Like, out of here. Like, the pressure does start wearing, and he did a good job with that. Like, he really did just walk forward, and he applies pressure. So, it was a good fight for me, and I know that he'll break some people with that pressure in the future.
And Matt, when you hear about people too, I like when you hear like the one fighter he's got to get his respect. He's got to get his respect by landing a shot. Have you had that when you come out and you've just gotten drilled by somebody who you really didn't expect to hit you as hard as they did, and then it just kind of changed the way you approach things?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in the John Castaneda fight, I just wasn't myself before. That was a lot of the reason, like, why I had to get sober and make some big changes in my life. I wasn't myself, and I really thought I was going to go in there and piece him up and knock him out. And once he hit me, and once he took some shots, and then he landed a head kick or whatever, in my head, it definitely was like, this isn't going my way. I don't know if I got it in me tonight. And I hate afterwards, that feeling was just gut wrenching to know that, like, maybe I didn't do enough in the camp. Maybe I wasn't like as dialed in mentally. Maybe like I left some stones unturned, and then you got freaking exposed, and like, this dude broke your ass. Like, it was a gut wrenching feeling. It was a feeling that made me like, I was like, I'm going to make a change right now. Like, my whole life, I've been trying to get to the big show. I'm here now, and I'm not going to let this slip away. I'm not going to die thinking, man, you really did put everything into that, So that was a game changer for me.
That's right. It's almost like, look, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose, but you don't want to have to go, why the fuck was I drinking during that? Like, you want to know, like, I lost and I did everything I could do, and that was it.
Yeah. You know when you're just ready to leave it all out there. And hopefully nobody ever dies, but it's just that feeling like I'm willing for that. When you're there, and I wasn't there in that fight, and I promised myself you'll never catch me in the cage like that again,
Well, Miles, you're a very, very exciting fighter, 14-2. I can't wait to see who you fight next, and you'll be in the top 15 soon, without a doubt. I mean, that was a great performance against a really, really tough fighter. And thanks for coming on, man. It was so much fun talking to you, and we'd love to have you back on again.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Miles Johns, take care, buddy. Be good.
All right, Miles.
And our next guest, he's the owner of VFS Academy, Mike Valle. I want to make sure I'm saying his name, because Valle is how I want to say it, and I've heard it said. But let's get Mike in here, and I want to make sure we say his name properly.
You were going to say like Frankie Valle. Oh, what a night.
I mean, that is how it reads. It's not Vale, there's double L's. So, you Americanize things and we kind of ruin them. So you can bring him in, Jake, whenever he would like to come in.
Sing it. Oh, what a night.
I'd prefer not to. No, I would prefer not to. But you could sing it. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hi,
I'm doing
Mike.
great. How about you?
I want to make sure I'm
man.
pronouncing your last name right. Valle or Valle, which is the proper pronunciation?
I mean, Valle is the right way, but the U.S. Valley is fine.
Oh, you don't care. Okay, yeah, you seem like you're okay with that.
That sounds like, Mike, that sounds like one too many times of somebody asking you that, and you're just like, Valley's fine. Through it.
Now,
Nice
here's
to meet you. Nice to meet you, bro.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you. You've got a reputation of being a great pad holder, which I've never heard anybody referred to as that. What makes somebody really good at it as opposed to being not good at it?
I think what makes somebody very bad at it, dude, is like they don't understand your athlete, bringing the best out of them. You have to understand them. You have to stimulate it. You have to stay connected. I see a lot of guys that hold mitts, but they're like they hold it by one piece, like one piece and one piece. And the way I do it, dude, I'm very connected with everything. I don't let them take breaks. Once you start the pad session, everything is about being connected into your session, because then you start developing a lot of bad habits, of just throwing two punches, stopping, crossing your feet, doing it again. And, there's sessions, there's specialty sessions where you work on those specifics, but when you go through the round, a simulation to your fight or a simulation to that, then you have to keep it very connected.
Do you mess around with those noodles? Those noodles? Like, I never messed with them. I think I came after that. That came after me. But do you mess around with that or no?
Yeah, I do. I like them. Yeah.
It looks like fun.
Yeah.
Longo never did it. Longo, he never did it.
Yeah.
But
I like them. They're good for distance. They're good for reaction, and also they're good to saving your forearms and your shoulders.
Are those noodles those little like they're elongated kind of foam and you and they hit like that and you punch them? Oh yeah, I've seen those. And you said you were inspired by Mayweather's uncle. How did that come about? And did you know him well, or was it just you admired him from a distance?
No, I did know him. I had an opportunity to be around him for a while. So I used to work at Jackson's, right? So that was my home base. So we used to go to Vegas back in the day a lot with all those fighters, right? And then I used to, Robert Bird, the referee, got me in touch with him. And then, senior was all about money, it was all about money. I remember that I had like $600 and I gave it to him. So I became very good friends with him. And I will watch him train, people, I said, hey, man, I just want to see you, how you train. I want to see how you go about it. I want to understand your philosophy behind it. And so I learned a lot, dude, just by watching him. I saw him training Akbeko. I saw him training, one time he invited me to see Floyd train and stuff like that. So it was very unique, to see. So I got a lot of things that I learned from it. So he told me one time 3 things. Says 3 things that you gotta look into a fighter that you can't teach. So it's reaction, distance, and timing. If they don't have that as a natural state, get rid of them. He told me that. But once you see it, a fighter has to have its own reaction. A fighter has to have his own sense of distance, and his own sense of timing, right? So he taught me all those things, how to can perceive it. Yeah, there's methods that you can do in teaching and distance, teaching and reaction. But, if I throw a punch at you and you don't blink and you don't react in a certain way or time, so, that's on you, there's not too much. There's a lot of exercises we can do, but you got to be able to react. You got to be able to time things, and you got to be able to have a feeling for certain things. So those are the major things that I learned from him, which it was great. And obviously his system of holding pads and why he did it and understanding the philosophy behind it.
Now, did you get involved with the hope of just like becoming a champion, or did you say, or did it hit you right away? Like, look, I think I'm better off as a coach. Did you fight? And I'm sorry if you have them.
Yeah. I did fight. I did fight some Muay Thai fights and stuff like that. But my goal was to be a coach. It was never to become a fighter. It was never to become like a champion, a fighter. My whole goal was just to become a coach. And I had an opportunity to learn from the best. You know, I was at Jackson's for a while, so I was on the tutelage of Greg, you know, for a lot of years. So I got an opportunity, you know, to just be behind the scenes, right? Being responsible for a lot of things, but at the same time, I wasn't the responsible. It wasn't my team, right? It was Greg's team. So I had a chance to be sitting down in the corner, understanding things, understanding the timings of the fights, the pace of the fight, where's the fight taking place of, you know, we got you know, regional fights, and then we got UFC fights and prize fights, right? And there's a completely different thing. It's a completely different thing. Once that time in the UFC starts ticking, it could go both ways. It goes your way or it doesn't go your way. There's certain urgencies that get in, the controlling of time, the experience of fighters and controlling time and stuff like that. So it gets very interesting, you know, it gets very interesting. I'm sure, I mean, you, man, you know all about it, you know, about prize fighting.
Oh,
You
no.
know, you've been there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's interesting because some guys are just way, you know, just because some guys fight doesn't mean they're going to be great coaches. And some guys fight and they are just fantastic coaches. And they're more made, they know they're more made for that. There's some guys who never competed. John Danaher in the jiu-jitsu world. Ray Longo. Ray Longo did a lot of sparring and stuff, but he never really competed. But they were just born to be coaches and trainers and cornermen. That was it's like they were born for it. So,
Wasn't Danaher have an injury, Matt? Didn't John Danaher have something, the reason he couldn't compete? There was something with his knee. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, he had something with his legs. He had something messed. But there's no. I'm gonna argue there's no reason why he couldn't compete because all the guys that were competing, he was submitting in the room. So that's more of a personal choice by John. You know, I guess you have to ask John, but
sure.
I was there firsthand, so you know it's fun. But yeah, some guys are just more made for this role, you know, which is awesome.
And Mike, can I ask you too, Bilal Muhammad? Bilal Muhammad, you know, we love Bilal, and I personally, even though Colby is technically, I think, second and Bilal's third, you know, Colby has lost a couple of his last fights, has not been particularly active, and I thought Bilal should have gotten the shot at Leon. And I know that there's that I guess that they think that Colby will sell the fight. What do you think about that? And how's Bilal doing? And what's next for him right now? Is he just waiting?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a spot, dude, where we're just waiting, right? I mean, we don't want to take any other fight. Well, there's deserving wise, of course, Bilal deserves the shot. You know, of course, now there's a lot of other things. You know, selling the fight, all this crap, dude. Then I mean, it's not our job, right, to get in there. But whenever it comes to being ready and just where he's at, I mean, we're just sitting down. You know, he's getting better every day. And we're training. He's training every day. He's in the gym 365 days, you know, a year. Dude, he doesn't take a rest. You know, so if they call tomorrow, this guy will be ready to take on, dude. I mean, if Colby pulls out, I mean, Bilal will come in a heartbeat. You know, or if Leon pulls out, you know, Bilal will come in. I mean, he's ready to go.
Is he going to be there, kind of, and ready and on point weight wise? Sometimes guys will do that just in case.
Well, yeah, they haven't said anything about him being the alternate or stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be there watching the fight. 100%. Yeah, he's going to be there.
How do you see this fight going? It's an interesting matchup. Leon looked so much even better against Kamaru in that second fight. What do you think happens in this fight?
I think, man, in my opinion, I think Leon is going to win, dude. I don't think Colby is going to be able to neutralize him that much. I know now Leon has developed a lot of confidence, beating Kamaru twice. I think his confidence has built, you know, and I think Colby hasn't fought in a while, you know, and I know he comes in with a certain style and a certain presence and stuff like that. But I in my opinion, I think Leon is going to pick him apart.
That's nice. I hope so.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of people hope so.
I don't think Bilal has a preference, does he? Does Bilal have a preference? I mean, style-wise, I'm sure he would say that he's comfortable with either. He doesn't really care?
No, man. You know what, man? This is the interesting about Bilal. You know, there's fights that we have fought going forward. There's fights that we have gotten going back. There's fights that we have taken him to the ground. And there's fights that we haven't even touching the ground because that was just the style that we were fighting. On the Damien fight, I told Bilal, dude, you know, hey, dude, we cannot hit the ground with this guy, especially you cannot let him on your back. If you would let him on our back, we lose. So we didn't touch the ground. on with the what's his name?
Damian
The
Maya,
striker. No, what was his name? I got his
Brady,
name. No, not Brady.
Vicente
Wonder
Luque.
Boy.
I'm just
Yeah,
reading
on the
through his
Wonder
wins.
Boy. Yeah, on the Wonder Boy fight. So hey, we gotta take him down. You know, he's a pretty good striker. Well, let's challenge his wrestling. So we went out there, we challenged his wrestling, we dominate him there. You know, on the Brady fight. So hey, man, this thing, guy, he has a great cardio. Let's show him what a great cardio is. Let's push the pace and let's get in his face. And we're showing what a good cardio is. And so he fights everywhere, dude. Whether Kobe, I think Kobe would be a much easier fight for us, you know, but just because I think it's just the style, you know, he's not a power puncher or stuff like that, you know, but I think Kobe would be a lot easier, you know, within the style. But either one, dude, it doesn't matter. Let's
Right.
go.
Yeah, and Colby has great cardio too. I usually guys on that level do, but Colby does have great cardio, so that would be an interesting matchup just for that. And he's so interesting when he pushes people up the cage and he kind of grinds people against the cage. You know, seems like he's a grueling guy to have to deal with. Colby, I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good. I mean, those dirty fights are awesome to have. You know, like in your face. You know, let's see who has more will there. So it'll be an interesting thing if it comes down to him.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too, man. And I think if Bilal had his choice, who wouldn't want to smack fucking Kobe in the mouth?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think Bilal would want to smack him right in the mouth. But all right, man. So much fun. Anything else, Jimmy? What forgot, Jimmy?
What, buddy? I was going to ask how Yair Rodriguez is doing. And what's on the table for Yair? What is he thinking after that Volk fight?
I mean, the Volk fight was tough, man. I mean, we all saw it. You know, just Volk is a hard guy to deal with. You know, Yair, he's a great man. He's in great spirits. He was just regrouping, and he's gonna come back. You know, obviously we won the interim title, and it was a great match there. And I mean, just. I think one of the things that affects us very much, dude, is that Yair doesn't fight that back to back that close. You know, he always takes his time. You know, so I think that affected us a little bit and somewhat. You know, in the fight. You know, Yair's the type of guy that fights twice a year, maybe once a year, twice a year. You know, he's very flashy, but sometimes like he takes a long time to recover. You know, from little naggies and stuff like that. It's just that's the way his body is, he kicks too hard, and sometimes whenever you kick that hard, your bones and stuff like that, they take a long time to heal up. And he wasn't completely healed, dude, from the other fight. There was 2 or 3 things that happened during camp and stuff like that. But I mean, no excuses, dude. Volkanovski, obviously, he's hard to deal with. He's very good, but I mean, he's in great spirits, and we're just waiting for see what's next.
Mike, Speaking of kicks, did you see the fights this weekend?
Yes, I did.
What do you think about the main event when Rafael blew out his leg? Not the leg that he was kicking with. It was the leg that was planted, I believe. Yes?
Yeah, the support leg.
What did you with versus Gamrot? What did you think of that?
I mean, Gamrot is tenacious, man. He's tenacious. I love that. I love that style, man. Of they're persistent, and I think later on, I mean, I would have loved to see it more, Matt, because I would have loved to see, just how he would have taken it. How much worry he would have brought to him with the takedowns, because he already had a takedown. So the pace was about to change. The dynamic of the fight is about to change. I always tell my athletes, dude, I don't care how good of a striker you're at. I don't care. I love striking, right? But if you don't have the ability to control someone on the ground against the cage, that means that you don't have tempo or ability to dictate, where the fight takes place. And I think Gamrot has the ability to dictate wherever he wants the fight to take place. He could keep it standing or he could keep it on the ground. So that's a very dangerous guy.
And a hell of a gas tank also.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about one more fight, please? Did you see Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson Gomez?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Those elbows, you might as well You might as well just put a razor blade on them. She has the pointiest elbows. She is all limbs. Like she's. Yeah. As a short guy, they're hard to get a hold of. They're always cutting you. I was very impressed with her.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I had like some mixed feelings there because I trained Michelle in the past, so I got a lot of love for her. But yeah, man. I mean, it's just this new generation of people, and especially her. I know she's up there with the same age as Michelle, but I mean, she's just a beast, man. With those elbows and those knees, she's a dangerous fighter.
Yeah, and Jimmy, I was going to mention also because a lot of people were talking about when Crone Gracie had a hard time in his fight. They were criticizing the way he fought, but they really didn't give a lot of credit to Charles Jourdain. They were making it more of Crone's bad than Charles is good. Well, now Charles dealt with a very another well-rounded fighter, but a very more a grappling-based fighter in Ricardo Ramos, and he had a very, very strong, aggressive grappling attack on him. And man, Charles Jourdain, he just is like the real deal. We should start giving him some props instead of start knocking his opponents because, Ramos was really, I mean, he was throwing a lot at him in the grappling realm. And not only did he deal with it, he stealth with it, he flowed with him, and then he put on his own assault and he got him in a guillotine. And I can't say enough about Charles. I mean, when he did it, he got up like he's not even a surprise. He wasn't even breathing heavy after that exchange. I was super impressed.
No, yeah, he looked great, man. He looked great. I was also a good fight was the co-main event, Dan Ige against
Bryce Mitchell.
Bryce. Yeah. I mean, it was just two different styles. One guy wanted to keep her standing, and then the other just Bryce Mitchell. His persistence on the takedown was great, and just capitalizing and be able to control it and keep it there. It was a great fight.
It was so good. I loved it. I really, I enjoyed all the main card. The whole thing was great. What a night.
Yeah.
No, it really was. And a disappointing end though. Fiziev, he's one of those guys where, I mean, is there anybody in that division with faster hands than Rafael Fiziev? I mean, if there is, I just can't place them at the moment. I think he's such beautiful, beautiful striking. He's so much fun to watch. So it just sucked to see that end.
He was like a cat too. He was taking away the takedown defense in the first round that was like out of the Matrix. It was, whoa, you know what I mean? It was something else. I was looking forward to that to go longer, but really Gamrot was, he was staying the course. So it was, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was a great night of fights. I have a story, that whenever Matt Serra fought George St. Pierre, so whenever George was getting ready for your fight, he got ready. He was ready on everything, and this is a story that Greg told me. But there was one thing that he never trained is what to do whenever he got rocked. Right? He never trained for that. Right? So after that fight, we used to do exercises, how, you do like the spinning things and then somebody coming at you and just to see what were your secondaries to go there and stay safe. So I always incorporated with all my guys in their training, our protocols when they were okay, I got rocked. What do I got to do? I got to get to a single. Like I got to get this. Got to get to my guard. I got to get this. I got to tie up. So it was a great
Coach
one.
Mike, that Coach Mike. Let me tell you, Ray Longo used to have me spin around. I don't know if he had me close my eyes or not. I'm forgetting that. But he had me spin. Okay, now he'd hold the mitts, and I'd be like, I felt it was like you're seeing like birds. It was crazy. But I get you. Not a lot of guys I don't think do that drill. That's
wow.
Funny. That's funny you brought that up. That's great. That's some old school stuff.
Yeah.
And did it help, Matt? I never thought of that, and I've never heard that until Mike just said it. Did that actually help you training what to do if you get rock spinning in a circle? Did it build in those instincts a little better?
I'm not being that guy, but if you're asking me,
yes.
I'm not saying I never really got rocked. Don't get me wrong. On the floor, George rocked me with an elbow in the second fight, but standing up, I'm kind of short. I never really got to, besides a spinning back fist ages ago.
Right.
I'm not being that guy, but I never really needed it. Thank goodness. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. Mike
Yeah.
would know better than me. Did it help your fighters? Did they tell you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it does work, you know. Yeah, at least at least you're not in an uncomfortable place, right? You already know what to do. That's what you're trying to do. Just trying to prepare for the worst case scenario, and hopefully you don't ever have to use it.
Yeah, but it's the instinct is there. If you build it in a little bit, it's kind of there automatically if you get rocked.
Exactly. You know, just training a little bit under stress and spreading new things to the guys. So, you know, make them train under stress a little bit. So that's how fight goes. They might be going your way. All of a sudden, like, boom, it goes completely the opposite. So not to panic and stuff like that. And just training under stress, it's always good.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Really interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens with Bilal, especially because we love Bilal, and we think he's been overlooked, and it's unfortunate. It's frustrating because he's such a good fighter, and he's a really an enjoyable personality. So he'll get his shot soon. So, you know, just. Yeah, we hope so too, buddy. But thank you for joining us, Mike. Mike Valle. I want to say your name properly. Valle, is that proper?
Valle is the first name. Yeah, Mike Valle.
All right, Mike Valle. I'm an American. Yes, I Americanized everything. I don't want to fuck it up. Anyway, thanks for coming on. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Coach
Thank
Mike.
you, man. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right, Mike. Take care. Thank you, buddy. That's very interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt you, man. I never thought of that. You're training in case you get rocks spinning in a circle. How many times would he spin you? Because I get very dizzy. We talked about how you said your wife, I think, can't do those rolls. She gets nauseous.
She doesn't do the back rolls. No.
I hate them. I fucking hate them. How many times would he spin you?
I don't remember 5 to 10. I don't remember, to be honest. It was literally 20 years ago. But I'll ask him.
Yeah. Do you ever puke?
I never. I puked from some of the trainings Longo put me through. But I didn't puke on that. It was a weird feeling, you know. But you know, Jimmy, really quick, you know, over the weekend, I just want to touch base. We talked about that main card, and Brian Bauer got that rear naked choke, which was beautiful. We talked about the card with Coach Mike. This is what I wanted to say. One, about my wife. Listen, Jimmy.
Yes.
Now, I told you to check that out on my Instagram.
I did too.
At Sarah BJJ. Yeah, my wife. We went there with the we signed her up for the Masters 2. That's 36 and over. So she's 49. She's 40. I'm 30. She's 39. She's 40 in a week. You know.
Yes.
So, you know, we signed her up for the 36 and over. There was nobody in that division. The division under that is the Masters 1, okay? Because that's called Masters 2. Masters 1 is 30 and over, 30 to 36. There was nobody in that division. So, blue belt, adult women, 18 to 30. She goes, well, you know, that's the division she went in. Now, that's not normal for a lady who's about to be 40, you know?
Sure.
My wife, you know, we're not normal as Sarah's. You know, we like.
No.
I asked her. She goes, well, do you think I could hang with these young girls? I go, look, honey, yes, I do. But, you know, it's up to you. You're the one going in there, and it's not. She goes, and this is what. It's funny, Jimmy. I learned. I get a lot of like. It's funny how you learn things. Like I said about the time my kid was comparing dance and jiu-jitsu. As she said that dance, it's choreographed, and jiu-jitsu, when she competes, she gets to choreograph it out there. And I thought that was a beautiful point she made, and it was very deep. Now, my wife tells me, she goes, look, I don't care. And this told me everything. This gave me the answer, you know. She goes, I don't care about getting a medal. I just want to test myself. I go, well, then that's your answer right there. If you know, and she went out there and she went versus this younger. Now she's again 39, been 40 in a week. She went versus a 22-year-old under Fabio Clemente. Fabio Clemente is under the Machado brothers, and he came. I know him I met him when I was 19 years old, training at the UFC Judo Club, and before Henzo even got here. It was doing a jiu-jitsu class under Craig Kukak. I met that gentleman, so I know him a very long time. So it's just funny that. You know, I know this many years later, my wife's going versus one of his students. So my wife, you know, she got a beautiful head control to like a snap down. She learned from one of my students who does the wrestling class, Coach Tommy. What a great kid. She learned it 10 minutes before that. She got it. She snapped it down, took the back like a champ. She beat this young kid. She lost to a buddy of mine, Ryan LaFleur's student. You know Ryan LaFleur.
I love Ryan, from Long Island, right?
All love Ryan. Yeah, Ryan LaFleur is a buddy. And this girl trains under him and my buddy Danny Stoffi, who's he owns Breathe Jiu-Jitsu out east. And then Ryan owns Long Island MMA. She got arm locked. The girl sat into a beautiful arm lock in the next match. She sat into the she won her first match. The second match, this girl sat. The girl won the whole thing. She's good. She sat into a beautiful arm lock and it popped my wife's arm immediately. But my wife still did she did the hitchhiker escape. So my wife, the guts on her. She got out of that, but when she got out of it, the girl transitioned beautifully into a triangle. And then she did a triangle to arm lock. She got the arm lock off that. So props to her. It was a beautiful transition.
Sure.
But really, I give so much credit to my wife because it's such an example for my kids. It's not normal for a 40-year-old woman to compete versus a 22-year-old girl. But you know what I mean? Or girls.
I loved watching it too. I was watching it and it was fun to watch you coaching from the thing because you don't hear these coaches usually yell, whatever, something babe. You were yelling something babe. I was just
I don't call her Ann, it's weird. So, I can't say enough about her. And then, Edwin, my brother, my buddy, he, this is not cool because he had to go versus the same guy twice, right? And now the guy, he beat him the first time on points. And the second time is what I put on my Instagram. And he just he did a beautiful throw with him, got on top, and he gets a bread cutter. But Edwin gets the bread cutter.
What's a bread cutter?
So you got one guy's, you cross-eyed on somebody and you have their arm that's a frame. It's trapped down by the hip. And you have your 4 fingers in their collar on the near side arm. The other arm comes across, thumb in. You drop all your weight. Watch. Want to see what the bread cutter is?
Yeah.
Watch Edwin Smart, Doc Kimura.
I saw that. Yeah, I didn't.
That on my Instagram. You'll see what it is.
Okay.
This is the thing though. The guy signs up to go versus him, right? And the guy's another big guy, but he goes. So afterwards, the guy comes over and hey, it's like, I got to ask you, how much do you weigh? So Edward's like, whatever. He's like, I cut to get to 215, and because he did 2 divisions. And now look, hey man, be quiet. How about that? How about he beat you? How about you sign up knowing you're going into super heavyweight, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Sure.
And you're thinking you're probably going to get a fat slob and dance around him and fucking triangle him or something. You get Edwin. He beat you up. And now oh man, how much do you weigh? Hey, you got what you signed up for. So
that's right.
And then I found out who the instructor was. And I don't like that. The guy's a tool anyway. So it's funny. I'm like, all right, there you go. It's Jimmy. There's a lot of guys I like. Some guys I don't. I'm like, all right. Water seeks its own level. I don't know the guy. The guy might be a nice guy, but this is what you don't do. You don't get beaten and go, hey, man, how much do you weigh? What do I weigh? We signed up in the same division, bro. Don't, take your loss like a man.
Yeah.
Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy, I got enough friends.
Yeah. What's the weight got to do with it? I weigh more than Mike Jarmillo, but he still strangles me at will. I outweigh him. Who cares?
Jiu-jitsu, bro. It's jiu-jitsu. You signed up for that division. You guys are looking at he weighs a little more than you. I don't know. He strangled you with technique. That's why I said big and technical with Edwin. I'm proud of Edwin. You know what I mean? So listen, man, we have a good time at Serra BJJ, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of my team. People go there just to support the team. Jedi Sue. These the families that come to support people. It's nothing but positivity on my end, Jimmy. We have a good
sir. Okay. This Wednesday, Matt, I will not be here. I will be in I'm going to Toronto because Thursday night I have a show for the festival. So I will not be on the show Wednesday because I'm traveling to get to Canada. But when we come back, I'm sorry. Well, let's talk about Prochazka against Pereira when I come back. Frivola against Benoit Saint Denis. Davison Figueiredo, Rob Font, Cannonier, Roman Dolidze, and Gastelum and Sean Brady. Gastelum's going back down to 170. There's so many exciting fights. Of course, Leon against Colby and Alexander Pantoja against Brandon Royval, who we love. And then Shavkat Rachmanov against Wonder Boy. Always exciting. Ian Gary. I think that fight I might be looking forward to as much as any of the other ones.
Oh, 100%.
And Ferguson, who's dropped 6, but he's still Tony Ferguson against Paddy Pimblett. That will be an interesting matchup.
Okay, is that a main event or no?
I don't think it's a.
I would love.
No, I don't think that's a main event. To my knowledge, it's not.
That's my main event, Jimmy. I know you're not going to be here for the next episode. I want everybody right now to get excited because we're having a guest. Well, obviously, we're having.
Yeah.
coughing as I'm laughing. We have a guest co-host, a special guest co-host. I don't even know who it's going to be.
That's
So
right.
I want everybody to listen just to see who that's going to be. I don't know. Jimmy, I miss you already.
I miss you,
Do you
sweetie.
do you think it's the right time that we get a break from each other? Like a week, a little.
I sometimes schedule these things where I will be traveling on a Wednesday.
Jimmy, I could be a little much.
No,
I miss you, Jimmy.
A delight.
Jimmy, I miss you. I'm going to talk to you later.
Yes, buddy. I'll talk to you soon, and I will be on with you in a week.
I can't wait, Jimmy. Safe
Nice.
travels.
Bye, pal. See you soon.
Bye, buddy.